All right, we're back. Graveyard Shift Movie Podcast, episode number 119. And this week, we're finally watching Bride of Chucky from 1998. To be fair, last week, Trilogy of Terror, because it was an emergency hurricane episode, in case, we died or the power and everything just cut out because the hurricane was barreling towards us. We probably could have done it last week because nothing happened. Like a little rain, some wind. I think it turned at the last second and missed us almost completely. So probably could have came out last week. But hey, how are we to know? But we're here this week.
Yeah, we're not meteorologists.
Yeah, that's not our fucking job. Um,
My passion, though.
yeah, to talk about Bride of Chucky from '98.
Hey.
So if I think Child's Play 3 was '92. So 6 years between movies. It was either '92 or '93. So 6 or 5 years. We've left the Child's Play title in the back.
Makes this game really hard to find.
What?
I couldn't find this game. The movie.
Okay, I was like, yeah.
I had to search for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it
was dumb.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be called Child's Play until that 2018 or 19 remake movie. So we never go back to the Child's Play title, which I kind of miss it. I don't know. I bet you most horror fans, they don't, or not most horror fans, but just most people in general, they know Chucky, but they probably don't know his movie is called Child's Play. You know what I mean? Because I didn't for a long time when I was a kid. I just thought it was called Chucky or whatever.
You'd call it Chucky, yeah. I
Yeah.
guess, if you're dumb.
Yeah. So, anyway. Yeah, so it's 6 years later. Chucky's back. He's got a new design, which is my favorite design with his scarred face and stuff. But I think the movie quality definitely dropped a lot.
It's weird. They have bigger names, but it's worse.
I didn't like it. Almost at all. I'm gonna give it, honestly, dude, I'm gonna give it a 3. The jokes for the most part weren't landing on me. I thought somehow the puppeteer, the animatronics of Chucky and Tiffany got worse from 3. There's points in this where they're hugging or kissing each other, and I don't know if it's just awkward to interact with the two, but it just all seems slow and sluggish, and I was like, none of this is good, and the main couple is terrible. Yeah, so I'm giving it a 3, dude. I did not like it. It's been my least favorite of the series so far. Tyler, what are you giving this one?
I want to give this one, I think, an 8 out of 100.
I was about to leave. I was like, never mind. We're not doing this one.
I'm trying to figure out how to say this and not sound condescending or chauvinistic or whatever. Jennifer Tilly ruined this fucking movie. It is so bad. Nothing makes sense. They try to shoehorn in a female, and it was just bad. I'm literally giving this movie a 1. It was the hardest thing to watch. And the only reason I'm giving it a 1 is because I think you're right. The animatronics sucked, but the people who did Chucky were okay, and whoever they got to do Tiffany was some fucking random dude off the street. I don't know why one was so good and the other one was so bad when the whole plot of this movie, or the whole selling point, was a female Chucky. But then the female Chucky was the worst part of the fucking movie.
I have the opposite reaction that you have, where I was watching it and I was like, oh yeah, it feels like Tiffany should have just been here the whole time. She just blended in so good to me. I don't know how you can possibly say that Jennifer Tilly is the worst part of this movie. When you have fucking Greg and Jennifer, wait, Greg, I can't use the same name. Greg and Sally, or whatever the main couple's name is, that the whole time they're just bickering. There's a part where he's like, I got $1,000. I'm going to put you through college, get an apartment. And I was like, have you ever interacted with money or know how any of this works? So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't get the whole Jennifer Tilly thing.
I guess I'm just smarter than you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why.
I just don't like her. So that's what
Oh, so you're letting your personal biases dictate how you felt. It's like if Forrest Whitaker played Chucky, you would hate this movie even more.
Yes.
Imagine
I hate to say that, but yeah. I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm a weirdo.
A little wonky
but like, no,
Chucky.
it's just. I think she gets, or again, unpopular opinion, guys. I'm sorry, but it's just my opinion. I think she got by on her looks and the way she talks, her voice. And this was at the very end of her career. There's a reason why you don't see her and stuff no more.
What? She's in all the Chucky stuff.
That's it, though, right? What else is she in?
I don't know. I don't pay attention.
I'm sure you go to IMDb or whatever. That, she's like, oh, shut her.
Well, I know she does a fucking bunch of voice acting. She was the voice. I didn't know it till a couple weeks ago. Monsters Inc. You remember that like bitch with the snake fucking hair that was dating Mike Wazowski? That's her. She was also like the mom in something.
Family Guy? Isn't she the next door neighbor?
Or no, yeah, she's Bonnie in Family Guy. That's right.
I watch a lot of poker.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, she's a big poker player.
She's well, I was gonna say big, but she's trying to be like a poker player, and it's just her showing her tits and losing. Like, so I think it takes away from like other females who are actually really good poker players, who show up wearing normal clothes and stuff and aren't dressed to the.
Anyway,
not a fan.
Okay. Anyway, spoiler warning for Bride of Chucky. We're gonna ruin everything about it, so you've been warned. Remember when we were in like Child's Play 2 or 3 and I was like, oh yeah, Bride, I think it's super like meta, and I think they even have like a reference to like Jason and all the Michael Myers and stuff. Yeah, and then the very first shot of the movie is like, hey, here's cooler killers. Like here, the movie opens with Jason's mask and like a chainsaw, and I think I read that Freddy's glove was in there, but I didn't see it personally. But it's all just in like this police locker, where all the crimes or whatever. And this cop comes in and he opens up a locker and he takes out a big ass bag, and he's like walking. Also, I know it's a Chucky movie, right? So you're like, okay, that's gonna be Chucky or whatever. But the box or the crate it was in, I was like, well, that's clearly Chucky. Like, I don't know. Like, I get it's a Chucky movie. Like, we know it's him, but I don't know. I was just like, that's clearly him. And so it's raining. He like takes Chucky, throws him in the backseat of the car. And then he makes a phone call. And on the other end of the phone call, we hear Jennifer Tilly playing Tiffany Valentine is her name in this movie. And he's like, all right, I got it. You better have my fucking money or whatever. And she was like, yeah, don't worry about it, So she hangs up, and then the dude's like sitting there, and he looks over to the bag that Chucky's in, and he's like, I wonder, I don't think he knows what's in there, actually. He just was told to go in this locker and get this bag, because that's why he's trying to like peek into it and see what's going on. But he's peeking into the bag, but then like the radio goes all staticky, like his cop radio, but it makes it sound like he got like electrocuted, you know?
Yeah, like static burst or whatever.
Yeah, I was like, what just happened? Because it looks like he's even like, like jumps back and stuff. But apparently, he just got like scared by the static, so I don't really know what happened there. Eventually, he peeks his head inside the bag, but then his head gets pulled back, and his throat gets slashed by Tiffany, who's in the back seat, and fucking killed him. And for some reason, I had thought that we had watched, or that Tiffany was in the last movie. I guess I was thinking about this movie before watching it. And knowing how Tiffany turns out in this movie, I remember watching it and being like, how the fuck is she in her human form? She died at the end of the... like, they didn't explain anything, you know what I mean? But this is the first time that she's in the series, so...
Oh, we'll talk about that later.
I was just stupid. I didn't know. So anyway, yeah, so she kills the cop, and then she opens up the bag, and she pulls out Chucky, which is weird, because, like, he fell into a giant fan and got chopped up at the end of Child's Play 3. So, it's weird how much of him is left, right? Like, wasn't only his arm or something missing? Like, because she had another doll that she puts on him.
Well, I mean, he's missing chunks. Let's not be... You know.
I don't remember. I watched this movie 3 weeks ago. I don't remember how he looked when...
There's a lot of gaps and stuff in him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so she pulls him out, and she's like, this will be a good time, or something like that. And you like my Jennifer Tilly impression? And
it made me hate you a little, even though it's so good.
Yeah. And yeah, he's like, all right. Or she's like, all right, let's go. And then fucking Rob Zombie, Living Dead Girl, kicks in. Yeah. And it's like, hell yeah, we're in 98 now. It's time to go down. And
there's a couple of Rob Zombie songs in this.
There is. Spoiler for my best of. My best of involves Chucky listening to a Rob Zombie song. So look forward to that. Speaking of Rob Zombie, you know, at the end of this podcast, I was gonna, you know, we're supposed to watch Cujo next week, but I was gonna throw out there, you know, the Munsters just came out, and since, you know, we're big Rob Zombie fans, we can watch the Munsters. But I watched the Munsters, and I don't want to watch it again. So I don't think we're gonna watch the Munsters, Tyler. I know you were looking forward to it, but I think we're gonna skip that one.
I think we gotta watch Barbarian, but anyways.
I think so too, but
I think it's gonna spoil for me soon, and I can't. Yeah.
So anyway,
she puts them together, and she gets some parts from other dolls. And she like grabs an arm, she sews them, staples them, and then you get the now classic Pieces of Chucky version. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it has a name.
I don't know. I just always call him scarred up Chucky. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm figuring if you bought the toys, right, you'd have like the good guy version, and then you'd have this. So
where he's like stapled in the face and shit. Looks cool. Somehow, like almost all the skin around his eye is missing. So like his eye is just like red flesh under there and shit. But yeah, so he puts them together. She's like, haha, I got Chucky now. And then after that, we're going over to the worst part of the movie, which is the main human characters. And the first person we see is fucking John Ritter. And I was like, oh, John Ritter. You know? Which he's in a whole bunch of stuff. You know, you might know him. But I always have a soft spot in my heart for him because he played grown-up Ben Haskam in the It miniseries with Pennywise or whatever. So John Ritter's here.
With what's his name, right? Why can't I think of his name?
Tim Curry.
Rocky Horror Picture. There you go.
Yeah,
Tim Curry.
Yeah. So he was grown-up Ben, which once again, even though I say soft spot in my heart, the grown-ups are always the worst part of it. But you know, it is what it is. Oh no, I'm sorry, I can't say that because people who say it is what it is. Those people are dangerous because they're just
They don't care anymore.
don't care. Yeah. Um. So apparently it's like prom night or something along those lines. Because John Ritter opens the door to see this kid standing there in like tux and stuff. I don't remember his friend's like his name's like Sam. Later we learned. I have it written down later, but I don't remember what his name is right here. But he's like, hey, I'm here to pick up Julie or whatever her name is. And the guy's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, oh man, you going to college next year? And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna figure skate. And he was like, but on an athletic scholarship, right? And he
You
was
fucked that
like,
all up.
I 3 weeks ago. I don't remember. It doesn't.
So
He's
like,
gay.
hey.
He's gay. That's the whole thing.
He's like, hey, you going to Harvard or is it Stanford?
Yeah.
But he's like, hey, you're going to Stanford? He's like, yeah, on an athletic scholarship. He's like, sure am. He's like, oh, okay, what kind of athletics you into? He's like, figure skating.
Mm.
And he was like, oh, okay. Like, and
Yeah.
it's this whole thing. And there's another part to
There's
that. but I don't
another.
remember what it was.
Yeah. There's another one. It's basically just to be like, hey, this guy's gay, without being like, I'm gay. You know what I mean? But anyway, so then, so they're having this whole shtick thing come around when the daughter comes downstairs, and he's like, "Hey, Julie, good to see you. Come on, you know." And then as they're about to leave, John Ritter's like, "Aren't you forgetting something?" And he's like, "What?" You know, and she's like, "Oh," and it's the like corsage or whatever that fucking flower is called. And he's like, "Here you
And
go."
it's a really dumb part is she's like, I love lilies. And he's like, it's not a lily, it's a blah, 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 blah. And he like uses the technical term for it. And I'm like, okay, this was got somewhat of a botanist or something that's going to come into play. No.
No, I
They
think
didn't talk about
I think that was
anything
another
ever.
gay thing. I don't think he was saying the scientific name for the lily. I think it was a different flower from lily, and it was like, see, because gay people have flowers, you know, they know different flowers. So, maybe I don't know. Seems weird. Don Mancini, who writes all these movies and created Chucky, is a gay man, so it seems weird that like that's how he would write it. But you know, who am I to judge? So yeah, they leave, and then as soon as they leave, John Ritter like pulls out his little radio, and he's like, "Yeah, they just left." And at first, I was like, "Oh shit, does he have like secret sex parties going on? He's gonna like invite like a cult over or something?" But no, he's just radioing his cop buddy because he realized that there was a ruse afoot, and that really, fucking the girl that just left, that wasn't her date. She's dating this like bad boy named Jason or something that John Ritter doesn't like. And he knew that it was just, yeah. So as soon as they go out to the car, the dude pops up in like the back seat, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we got him good." But the cop friend's coming to pull him over in a second. So we'll come back to that. The scene leaves off with them driving away. We go back over to Tiffany, and Tiffany's trying to resurrect Chucky from the grave. Throughout her little RV, we see a bunch of newspaper clippings of like Charles Lee Ray and everything. So at first you don't know, like, the movie's not spelling out for like, oh, this is his girlfriend or whatever. It's just like, oh, maybe it's a fan or something like that. She even has like a heart tattoo on her chest that says Chucky on it. Oh, pull that over. Don't want to show the people the stain on this shirt. And so the thing I always found confusing about this movie is when Chucky comes back to life, she keeps calling him Chucky, right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember from the show, because like I said, the show has a lot of Tiffany and Chucky when they were people and they were younger, you know? And I don't remember if Chucky was ever a nickname for him, because I thought Chucky was just the doll's name. Because the doll is programmed to say, "Hi, I'm Chucky," you know?
Well, I mean, Chuck is short for Charles.
Yeah, but I guess. Which is stupid. I hate that stuff. Because Chuck is a different name from Charles. There's no, except for CH. That's the only thing that they share together. Richard and Dick are the same thing.
Just because people call you Tom when your name's Thomas?
No, that's a real name. Thomas and Tom. That's shortened. But Charles and Chuck, those are two different people.
Okay. I mean, I'm just trying to get to the bottom.
Anyway, I just thought it was weird that she keeps calling him Chucky because I figured his name was Charles, But maybe his nickname was Chucky. I don't remember because it's been a while since I watched the show. But
I thought his nickname was the Strangler.
Yeah. She calls him the Strangler. Anyway, so Tiffany's trying to resurrect Chucky. She's got him like in this pentagram circle thing, and she's got a book, Voodoo for Dummies. And I was like, I was like, oh, I should have sent that one to Tyler for his birthday. Tyler's on his way to putting his soul in a doll. By the way, he's learning how to do it.
I finished that book and it was like horseshit. It wasn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, it told you like the history and stuff, but it didn't tell you like the good stuff.
Yeah. So she's doing the whole humbale, ooh, give me the power, all that shit to resurrect Chucky. I will say, she did a terrible job at doing the spell. I did, the spell part. I was like, ooh, this is kind of cringy, but whatever. So the spell doesn't work, and she's like, and then she gets a knock on her door, and she opens it up to this guy who is her boyfriend, or just like
simp,
confidant, simp, something. Who he's like this goth dude who he's got this lip ring that like is through his chin. So I guess it's like a chin ring, right? Like it's crazy. Or is it through his chin or is it just his lip?
Just his lip, I think.
I'm thinking of Suicide or whatever his name is from Return of the Living Dead, who had the fucking giant thing through his chin. But yeah, he has it through his lip, and he's just a crazy looking dude. And he's like, hey, I got that thing you wanted. And he shows her this Polaroid of this dude with his head crushed in. And she's like, oh, you finally killed someone, huh? And she's looking at it. And then she's like, hey, you know that your fingernails are in the shot, right? And so she sees that, like, the fingernails are the same color as his. This guy just painted his face up to be red to try to convince her that, he had killed someone, but she hasn't. So I don't know what their relationship is. Clearly, she's like, she might just be looking for a partner in crime, but this dude is definitely looking for, a partner in the slime. I don't know. I was trying to think of a way to rhyme with crime, but couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You
failed.
I'm sorry, dude. So the person playing the goth person or whatever is named Alexis Arquette. Okay. And first off, I saw that name and I was like, any relation to David Arquette? No relation. Just, same last name. The second thing, if you look up Alexis Arquette, it is a woman. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? So okay. I clicked on it. And so, yeah, Alexis Arquette is a trans woman. Transition from man to woman. Okay. So I don't know where this movie fell in the timeline of the transition.
Of her transition.
Yeah, but that's what happened, right? But before that, she had a role that I was like, oh shit, she was that guy, which is
what a line. Oh shit, she was that guy.
Yeah, well the character in the movie was a guy, so I mean,
okay, gotcha.
She was the guy in Pulp Fiction who's the one in the bathroom who jumps out with the 44 and shoots at John Travolta and Samuel Jackson. Yeah, and misses all the shots. And Samuel Jackson's like, that's a sign from God, Yeah, so that's who she is. That was the only role I saw but that got me. I was like, oh, she was that person. So I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, also died in 2016. So R.I.P. to Alexis Arquette. So Shout out. Didn't mean to bring the mood down. I should have just left it at the Pulp Fiction. um. So anyway, Tiffany's like, I can't believe you didn't kill anyone. And she looks around and she sees that Chucky is gone. And she's like, oh, he's alive, So she thinks that Chucky is just like gone under the couch. So she's like, hey, fucking Jim, look under the couch for me. I think I lost my ring, And he's like, okay, So he's looking under the ring, or for her lipstick. I'm sorry. Very important plot point. And he's looking under the couch, and he's like, I can't find nothing. He's like, this is tiring. And so he flips over, and then a very bad CGI spider falls onto his face. And he's like, And then it once they do like a close-up, they've replaced it with a real spider. But the first shot of it falling is just like this bad-looking CGI spider from 1998 falling on his face. And so then I think Tiffany is like, that's just Rupert or whatever the fucking spider's name is, and it's a pet, and she just like picks him up or whatever. So after that, she's like, fine, thanks for giving, my lipstick or whatever. And then she looks over and Chucky's sitting next to her on the couch, and she's like, oh shit, and then Jim comes over and just starts making fun of the doll. And there's a meta joke in here where she's like, hey, this is that doll that did all those killings or whatever. And he's like, this is Chucky? Man, Chucky is so 80s. Get with the 90s or whatever. And I was like, because he's an old franchise. They left him in the past. Anyway, so... also he he hits the button and Chucky does the I'm Chucky, wanna play or whatever. But I swear they changed the voice. It's a different voice who does it. Yeah, and I didn't like it. I don't like change, but I didn't like the voice. So then Tiffany is like, hey, I'm gonna give you a lap dance or whatever. So she like handcuffs him to the bed, and then she puts Chucky on his stomach to sit there. She's like, I'm gonna give a dance for you and Chucky. And so as she's like dancing at the end of the bed, this is how she's moving. She's like, did I ever tell you that I dated Charles Lee Ray back in
the Stain?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, and so she's dancing and she is telling him that she actually was dating Charles Lee Ray back when he was human, and she talks about how Chucky got really jealous anytime another man would look at her and shit. And as she's saying this, Chucky does like a possession, just rolls his head back and looks at the guy, and then he fucking rips out his lip ring, and the dude's like, oh my god, his lips bleeding. And then Chucky puts a pillow on his face, and he just fucking sits on him, and just sitting on his face, and he's smothering him. And I do enjoy that they're like, Tiffany and Chucky are having this good heart-to-heart, like, it's really good to see you again and stuff, and they're having this, like, deep conversation, and the whole time the dude is just like, he's just getting smothered the whole time they're talking. I thought that was funny. But also... I
don't know how a fucking little doll would smother you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, they're very loose with the Chucky. Like, sometimes he's like got the power of a man, but they've never shown him to be heavy. But
yeah, I
don't know.
It's something.
Yeah. Also, Chucky has one of my favorite lines of the movie here for him, which is they're having this heart to heart, and Chucky's like, you look really good. I always thought you would let yourself go. And I was like, oh, you got a good Chuck, you slimer. I'm using
Why
slime.
Are you calling people slime?
Yeah, so anyway, so Chucky's alive, the dude's dead, the reunion. We go back over to the fucking people, and they're pulled over by the cop. And the cop's just here to harass them. He works for John Ritter. He's getting like paid on the side to keep an eye on the girl and the boyfriend and stuff. And so he's giving them like bullshit, like breathalyzers and stuff like that. And oh, he's making them do like breathalyzers, and I remember thinking it was weird that he's making the girl and the other boyfriend do breathalyzers because they weren't driving. But I guess it's probably because they're underage, right? Like they're not.
Yeah, he just wants to make sure they weren't like getting drunk or whatever.
Yeah. Also, I think it's just bullshit to wait for John Ritter to get there. But either way, I just thought it was weird that they were having to do breathalyzers too. So John Ritter shows up, and this is when we find out that John Ritter is not a good person, because John Ritter isn't her dad; he's her uncle. I don't. Do they talk about what happened to her parents? They just died.
No, and keep in mind that there was no point in making this girl an orphan.
No, like John Ritter could have just been her dad.
Yeah,
and like just been mean or whatever.
Yeah, like they try to make it like tie in, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's weird they never mentioned what happened to the parents. But John Ritter is like, she's like, you can't control me, and he's like, I can. You're my problem till you're 18. And he's like, so you're not, I don't give a fuck what you do after that. All he cares about in the meantime is that she doesn't wind up on the Jerry Springer show with this fucking loser getting knocked up and shit. And so basically he's worried about his reputation. He just doesn't want her running around with this dude who's a known town, like, bad boy or fucking...
he just lives in a
trailer trash. Park. Yeah, that's what they call him.
He just lives in a trailer. That's it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, perfectly normal.
Yeah, it's a very economically.
It's almost seen the same as getting an apartment, right? To where it's like, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, also, then the dude's yelling, and the dude's like, the boyfriend's like, you fuck. And the dude's like, yeah, but you won't, at least with not Jade. And I was like, you got him good, John Ritter, you slimer. So...
This isn't a thing. Stop trying to call people a slimer.
Yeah, so the girl's name is Jade. Okay, we got that one. Keep that one on the books, Tyler. So back with Chucky and Tiffany, turns out that Tiffany, the night that Charles Lee Ray died, had found this ring that was on the table, and so she thought that he was going to propose to her. But he's like, oh, that's that ring off of Mary Kennedy or whatever that drowned in the lake. That thing's worth $10,000, so he wasn't planning on marrying her. She's like, wait, so you weren't gonna propose? And he was like, Tiff, are you serious? Like his Chucky laugh, and so she's like, all right, bitch. And so she picks him up, and she's gonna lock him in. It's a baby playpen that she just like puts underneath the kitchen table, and she like puts a lock on it. But
I don't know if it's a play. Is it a playpen? I thought it was like a dog kennel.
I don't know. I thought it was like a baby. Yeah,
it's a cage.
Yeah, but before she puts him in the cage, she's like, tickle, 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 tickle. and Chucky's like,
I think I prefer you like this. You're kind of cute. You're just like a little baby. Is the little baby ticklish? Is he? Okay. Mommy's tired.
And I saw that, and I don't know if you remember this, Tyler, but way back in Halloween 5, when we did Halloween 5, there's the scene where Chucky has the little girl that I don't remember her name, and he's got her in the attic, and he's about to kill her. And she's like, can I see your face? And he takes off the mask, and then you see like a tear roll down his cheek as she like goes to like touch him or whatever. And in that podcast, I said that anytime someone says that like Michael Myers is the best slasher villain of all time, that's the clip I was going to show him. if anyone says that Chucky is the best slasher villain of all time, I'm just gonna play him the clip of Chucky getting fucking tickled by his fucking girlfriend.
It made no sense.
It was just I just didn't want to see it. Also, I'm sorry, Papa Hades, if you're listening, because I'm pretty sure you said that Chucky's your favorite slasher villain. But he's getting tickled. He's getting tickled. What's going on, man? Jason's not getting fucking tickled. Once? Yeah. Those camp counselors. So anyway, yeah, she tickles him, throws him in the playpen, and she's like, you sit there and think about what you did, you know? I do enjoy, though, after that, she goes into the bedroom, and she's, like, crying on the bed, and it just zooms out, and, like, the dead dude's still laying there, and she, like, sort of kicks him with her feet to get him away from her. I did like that. So, the next morning, we find out that Tiffany lives right next door to the boyfriend of Jade, who is out there. And by next door, I'm next trailer. But she's got, like, the heavy trunk that clearly just has, like, that dude's body parts in the trunk, and she's going to get rid of it. And so she, like, uses her sex appeal to, like, get him to help her move the trunk into her trunk and take it off or whatever. And then at the end, she is like, how would you like to have a drink with me or something tomorrow night? And he's like, oh no, I can't, I'm seeing someone, and she's like, yeah, and he's like, yeah. And so she says a line here that will come back later, which is, all right, we'll treat her good, because my mom told me that, the wife spends all day cooking, and the least the husband can do is wash the dishes, and so that'll come back later. Also, as he leaves, she's like, it must be nice to have a good guy or something like that. So the foundations, Tyler, they're breaking. I say the foundations are breaking now, but Chucky's locked in the cage. Like, it's already started, but, whatever. Also, by the way, thinking back to the show once again, like I said, I'm pretty sure they never mentioned that whole I found the ring on the table that you were planning to propose for me with. Because like I said, in the show, I'm pretty sure the reason he gets caught at the store is because she called the cops and ratted on him because she was mad at him and shit. So he's fucking... What's this? Oh, I remember what this is. So Chucky is in his little cage, and he has the little, like, speak and say toy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And he keeps writing bitch, and it goes, incorrect. Please type woman. And Chucky's like, and he's like, yeah, so his, you're writing out bitch for woman.
Spell woman. E-I-T-C-H. That is incorrect. The correct spelling of.
That's pretty funny. It reminded me of, I think it was Texas Chainsaw 3, where Leatherface has it, and it things like people, and he keeps typing food, and he's like, every time he gets it wrong, like he's pissed. Yeah. So Tiff comes back later that day, and she's like, hey, I think it's time for, you to have a life partner or something like that. And so she pulls out the Tiffany doll that, we will come to know. When she pulled it out, I was like, why does that look so weird? And I was like, oh yeah, it's because she's going to give herself like a goth makeup look in a couple minutes. So she puts him in the cage with Chucky, and she's like, you two sit here and enjoy each other, So then Tiffany goes and she's taking a bath, and she's watching like some 60s or 50s horror movie, and Chucky has taken the wedding ring off of the doll and is using that to carve through the wooden bars. Now, would a plastic ring really carve through a
It's
wooden
not
bar? Is it not?
It's worth 10 grand.
Oh, did she put the real ring on there?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's her
okay.
ring on the, yeah.
All right. Yeah, so he cuts through the wooden bars, and then he's like, he's creeping and shit. There's like this weird rubber kind of see-through like curtain in where the bathroom is that Chucky like presses his face into it, and it like molds to his face. It's a weird looking thing. Also,
Are you shitting me right now?
what's up?
It's just a shower curtain.
Nah.
Why is this weird rubber see-through? It's a shower curtain. What?
Nah. Well, it's not on the shower.
It's a bath shower combo, so it goes around the tub.
Around the tub.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know how you have a shower curtain that goes across your tub
Mm-hmm.
in case you want to take a shower in your bathtub?
I do.
It's the same thing, but it's a standalone tub.
Hmm.
It's a pedestal tub instead of
Yeah. Listen.
I can't believe I'm having this conversation with you right now. I'm
Listen.
like, what?
Next thing I know, you're gonna be telling me that Jezebel didn't have a dresser with a sink on it.
I'm gonna punch you.
Yeah. So anyway, stuff happens on the movie, and Tiffany's like, and then Chucky comes running into the bathroom with a knife, and she just fucking kicks him in the face, but she kicks him in the face right next to the TV. So Chucky just makes good of a bad situation and just uses the TV to push it into the bathtub, and electrocutes her. Yeah. So Tiffany's dead. The weird thing is, after she gets electrified, is when he does the spell to put her soul into the into the body of the doll. But I kind of thought you had to be alive for that to work.
Well, it gets worse because 3 minutes after this, they tell you why he can't put his body into a human because he doesn't have this amulet. But he just fucking did it.
Yeah.
5 minutes prior, and that's why this movie gets a 1, because it's like you literally said why this doesn't work.
Maybe.
But then you did it right before it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the only thing is that he didn't put his soul or the soul into a human. He put it into a doll, so maybe that's. But either. Also, yeah, he's like, we need this amulet, or else we can't get out of the body of the thing. It was like, well, hey, first off, Chuck, over here, Mr. Chuck, just wanted to say, remember the 3 previous movies where you had no problem starting to do the? Well. Does he say that was my problem all along, is I didn't have the... Either way, he was trying for 3 movies, and he didn't have an amulet, and he was, it was perfect fine. Also, once again, Mr. Chuck, over here, if you go back and watch the first movie, I mean, he doesn't have a fucking amulet on his neck. Like, it's just a made-up bullshit. Once again, though, there's like, bags, like, well, did you go back and look? No.
No.
No. But yeah, the amulet thing is fucking dumb. So anyway, he puts her into the body. He's like, now you need me because I'm the only one that can help you get out of that body. Because he knows more about voodoo than she does. And they need the amulet. So the amulet is on his body the night he died, and it was buried with him. So the amulet is in like Chicago or wherever his body was buried. So they have to get to Chicago to get the amulet. But they're also on, or no, they're not on a time crunch yet. The time crunch comes later. Okay. But yeah, so they need to get to Chicago to get his body to get the amulet. So Tiffany calls Jesse, that's the name of the boyfriend, and tells him that she'll pay him $1,000 to take her to Chicago. I think she offers $500, but he says $1,000, and so she's like, okay, I'll give you $500 now, and I'll give you like $500 after or whatever, to take us to Chicago by tomorrow. And as she's talking, it pans over, and Chucky's just like got a straw in the fishbowl. and he's just drinking water out of the fishbowl, and you see the fish is getting lower, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on, man?" And I thought that was funny too. But yeah, so Jesse's like, "All right, I'll do it. I'll take your packages to fucking Chicago or whatever." After this is when Tiffany gives herself, the makeover. That she's this goth doll now. What's the song that they're playing when she's doing that too? It's like was it a Blondie? Wasn't it Call Me or something?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
you're right.
I think I remember it. Good one on me, Thomas.
Probably wasn't now. Now that you celebrate it, it's gonna be something completely different.
Yeah. So Jesse comes in and sees Tiffany and Chucky on the fucking thing, and he gets the packer a little note that says, thanks for doing this, and like the money and stuff, and he's like, all right, let's go. And then once again, my favorite thing in all these movies is he picks up the dolls, and as he's walking, like Tiffany's shins just eat shit on the table. Like, I always just like that. So as Jesse's leaving, he stops by Jade's place and wants to take her with him and ask her to marry him. And, he's like, we can get out of here. We love each other. This is when he's like, I got $1,000 to do this job. I can get an apartment. I can put you through school. I'm going to get a job. Like, $1,000 isn't a lot of money, my guy.
Well, this was 22 years ago.
It was,
right?
But still, 98. You would do better with $1,000 than you would now. But still, you got a lot of ambitions for $1,000. Also, as they're talking, it pans in and we see Chucky sitting there, and he's like, just jerking, doing the jerk off motion. So she's like, all right, I'll leave with you. So she gets in the car, to be like, all right, let's get married or whatever. Or no, where do they go? Because they don't get in the car immediately. They leave.
Who?
Those two. They're like talking and then they leave.
Don't they get in the van? I don't remember.
Well, yeah, because John Ritter is about to die and he gets killed in the van. Because they're like, all right, they don't leave to go get married because they get married on, like, they've been in the car.
He goes to like pick her up and he goes inside to get her, and then John Ritter's breaking into the van.
Yeah.
At the house.
Maybe. I'm not
know.
sure. Either way, they're like, all right, we'll get married, and then they disappear. They're somewhere. We don't remember where. But John Ritter is I looked down at my notes and I forgot that they're like, all right, we'll get married, and then Chucky's like, I give him 6 months, 3 if she gains weight.
If she gets fat. Yeah.
I just saw that and I was like, oh yeah. So there's somewhere. John Ritter looks outside and sees the van, and he's like, that fucker's outside, So he goes into the van to he's like looking through it and shit to look inside. Chucky and them see him, and Chucky's like, look at this fucking guy. And so he's like, I'm gonna kill this guy. And so he like picks up a knife, and Tiffany's like, oh, come on, that's so 80s, and then he picks up like a hammer, and she's like, that's too predictable. And she's like, why can't you think of, let's think of a more creative way to kill someone. And so they're like looking around, and then she finds a jar of nails, and she's like, aha. So she's got this jar of nails. John Ritter breaks into the van, and he's planting weed in the van so he can go and call his cop buddy, and the guy can pull him over and find weed in the car, and it'd be a big thing. But as he's in there, Tiffany and Chucky start making noise up front, like Tiffany's laughing or whatever, and so John Ritter crawls up to the front to look for them, and he looks up and he sees the 2 dolls, and then Tiffany like looks at him and she's like, ah, and then Chucky's like, ah, he cuts the cord to the airbag, which releases the airbag, and on the airbag console thing, they've put the nails on the thing, so they fly out and stick in the John Ritter's face, and they make him look very much like Pinhead, And so Chucky is like, why does this look so familiar? You know, as he's looking at him.
Is that why? I mean, I figured that was it, but
Yeah.
I was like, is that really what they're doing?
We're in the age of Scream, Tyler. It's all about the meta jokes and the references to pop culture. They keep, I'm sure it's already happened, they keep mentioning Martha Stewart throughout this movie.
Yeah.
Apparently it's Tiffany's hero. So, you know, but yeah, it's all about the pop cultures. And then Seed of Chucky only gets worse. I do believe, slight spoiler for Seed of Chucky, Tyler, I'm about 100% sure that Chucky kills Britney Spears in that movie. So, look forward to that. So they kill John Ritter. They hide his body in the trunk. And then fucking the people are coming back and they're like, we got to clean this up. So somehow in the span of like 20 seconds for them to run to the car, they are able to clean up all the blood. And Chucky also steals like the weed out of the bag, and he's like, haha, I'll take that for later, you know? So they start driving. They're driving for 2 minutes before they're pulled over by the lackey cop, and they're at like some carnival or something.
No, they pull over there to get food.
Oh, is that why they're not just pulled over?
Yeah, they're like, we need to get some snacks for the road or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
All right. Yeah, so Jade tries to convince him to be, she's like, I know you gotta be a decent human in there somewhere, you know, is the money that good? And he's like, yeah. he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna let you go. And so Jesse is like, listen, I'll handle this. Just go get us some snacks and we'll be ready to go, you know? So she leaves. And also, before she leaves, though, she like tells the guy, she's like, I swear to God, I'll vaporize you. And then she like slaps him in the face, and homie like he squares up to like fight with her. And I was like, oh shit, they were throwing hands in this movie. So she leaves. Dude's like, I'm gonna look in your van. So he goes into the van and he's looking around, and he is about to open up the trunk that Tiffany and Chucky are sitting on, and that's where John Ritter's body is hidden. But as he's going to open up, like, Tiffany just like kicks him on the top of the head, and he's like, ow, what happened? And then Chucky throws the bag of weed, so it makes a sound, and the guy looks over and sees it, and he's like, aha, I got you, you know? So he goes out, he's like, look at this, I got weed, you're fucking going to your jail, buddy. And he goes back to the cop car, and he's radioing to his friends. And Chucky and them are like, well, this is our ride, you know? We got to get him out of this. So Chucky is like, I got a plan. And he takes, like, a piece of cloth and a lighter and commences to crawling like a baby on the ground to get over to the car. And they, like, zoom in, like they have a close shot of him like crawling, and it looks so fucking dumb. I was like, what are we doing? This is like a child crawling on the ground to go and blow up this car. But he gets there, and he puts like a rag in the gas tank and sets it on fire, and then he's crawling back, as he's crawling back and the thing's burning, first off he drops the lighter he used. And he looks over, and there's this stoner in the car, and the guy's smoking, and Chucky looks over and sees him, and he just, like, flips him off, and the dude's like, rude fucking doll, man. Yeah. And, yeah, so, they're in the van, the dude's radioing to his police people, and then he starts to smell like the smoke or something burning, and he looks up and he sees Tiffany and Chucky in the back of the van waving at him, and he's like, and then he just blows up and dies. This is right when Jade shows up, and Jesse's like, come on, we gotta get out of here, you know? So they leave, and they're driving for about 30 seconds, okay? And then Jesse's like, where were you? Why'd you kill that man? And she was like, me? You killed him. You said you were going to take care of it. And so they both immediately are like, all right, this person is definitely the killer. Like, I'm in the car with the killer right now. And like they're fucking yelling at each other. They're yelling, that each other is the one that killed them. When they get a call from David. David's the name of the gay friend who was doing the fake stuff with her earlier. And they answer the phone and they're like, "What?" And he just goes, "What the fuck?" Like that's his first thing he says on the phone. Anyway, he's like, "Hey, you guys are wanted. The people are looking after you, Yeah. And so
no. They sit there and he goes, I don't know if this is the part or not that you're referring to, but they both call him.
No, that's later in the movie, yeah.
Oh.
But
so yeah,
I'm trying to figure, apparently this is what my note says. Apparently that lighter belonged to that cop from the beginning that got killed from the uncle is missing. David thinks they should turn himself in. What? Oh, so I think he's saying that the lighter was found at the scene and it belonged to the cop who was murdered a couple nights earlier.
Yeah,
by Tiffany.
Because Tiffany takes the lighter and goes, "Coo."
Yeah, yeah.
What?
I'm like, but then they also say that the uncle is missing, and so David thinks that. Well, David says here he's like, "You two should just turn yourself in. If it's not you, don't worry about it." But they're like, "No, we can't do that." So he's like, "All right, well, they set up roadblocks at all the borders, so y'all need to, find a new way around." So they're like, "All right, fuck, we'll find something." So they stop by this house, and they stop. I thought it was a house, but it's like a on the road wedding chapel, yeah. And dude is like, Jesse's like, "Do you trust me?" And she's like, "Of course." And I was like, "You don't. You two were literally just saying that each other was a murderer a minute ago." But either way, these dummies get out and they go into the thing and they get married. Oh, that was bad. They're getting married. As they're getting married, Chucky is in the van messing around with the radio. And he puts on what sounds like some ska music or something. And he's like, "Oh, man, music's really gone downhill since I've been dead, And then he turns the channel, and it's Thunder Kiss 69 or 65, whatever it is, by White Zombie, which is, just Rob Zombie. That's not... People get upset about that. Because a lot of people are like, "I like White Zombie, but I don't like Rob Zombie." You know what I mean? And then Chucky goes, "Oh, fuck yeah." And then he just starts going... like in the car seat, and I don't know. I laughed a lot.
That's more like it.
Watching him do that, so I enjoyed it. Tiffany and Chucky started having a heart-to-heart. Chucky is like, "Hey, I'm sorry about killing you." And she's like, "It is what it is. I always wanted us to spend more time together." And then Chucky's like, "Yeah, life sure is full of surprises." And then John Ritter pops up like the Undertaker out of a casket, and he's screaming, and he's like, And there's a super painful looking thing because he falls over, and it shows like the nails going further into his skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so Chucky's like, he gets up and he gets a knife. And he just starts stabbing him in the back. And this time, John Ritter is finally dead. And Chucky's like, "You can't go wrong with the classics, Yeah. And so, there you go. He killed him. And Tiffany's like, "Oh, what a man." So they get married. They drive to a motel. They're sitting in the motel. And it starts playing the news of the murders and how they're on the lookout for those two. And literally, both of them, look at each other. And it's clear they're like, "Fucking murderer," And it's like, you two just got married. What are you doing? This random couple comes into the hotel room. They're swingers.
How do they come into this room?
I don't know.
How is every door on the planet fucking locks at a hotel when you close it?
Yeah. They're, they're very happy people. They want to fuck them, They're they're looking at the dolls, and Tiffany's like, she's like, oh look, Tiffany's so cute, the Tiffany doll. And then she looks at Chucky. She's like, you have a face only a mother could love. And then Chucky, in the like doll voice, is like, haha, you shouldn't be talking. And I was like, that was a good one. But yeah, they want a bone, but Jesse and Jade don't. So the lady just like steals her money. And they leave and they go back to her own hotel room. Tiffany saw this happen, and so she's pissed. So she follows them to their hotel room, where they just have like 4 guns sitting on their nightstand. And I was like, who are these people? Like, what is going on with them? And they get on this waterbed, and they're like gonna start banging. And then the lady like looks over and sees Tiffany sitting there with a champagne bottle, and she starts to scream, but Tiffany throws it up, and they have a mirror on the thing, so you guys could watch yourself fuck. And it breaks, and it just rains down, and slices them up, and the water's splashing everywhere, and the water is all red and stuff. It's a cool looking death scene or whatever.
Bad CGI though, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they get killed. Chucky sees this happen, and Chucky's like, I love you, So he like takes the finger from the lady on the bed and pulls off her wedding ring and gives it to Chucky, and he's like, will you marry me? And she's like, yeah, I will. And so then we get a silhouetted doll sex scene. We do get a close-up of like their little doll tongues, like.
So is this before or after Team America?
I think it's before.
Because
did it remind you of the Team America sex scene?
Yeah. So I was like, did they rip them off or did they get ripped off? Right?
Well, to be fair, the Team America sex scene was much more graphic.
Yeah, but like
it's from Team America's 2004, by the way.
So I think it laid the groundwork, and then Team America was like, "Oh yeah, we'll hold my beer,"
Might have. I thought this was the one, because in the next one, it must be the next one. But I remember there's a shot of Tiffany the doll, like, and she has tits, and she like pulls down, and you see like doll tits. I thought it was this one, but it must be Seed. But yeah, so they're banging. As they're banging, Tiffany's like, "Wait, do you have a rubber?" And Chucky's like, "Tiff, look at me, I'm all rubber." And she's like, "Oh yeah, And anyway, so they bang. Next day, Jade and Jesse, they're on the road again, and this is when you were talking about it. Jesse like calls him, and she's like, "I'm pretty sure," or Jade calls him, and she's like, "I'm pretty sure Jesse's the killer." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's crazy. You should turn him in." And then he gets another call from Jesse, and he's like, "Hold on, I got a call." And he answers it, and Jesse's in the back, and he's like, "Jade's a fucking killer," And so, yeah, they don't trust each other. They think each other's the killer. David somehow, shows up. Yeah, I don't know how he knew where they were or how he caught up with them, but he shows up somehow. So he's in the van with them now. And he's like, "Listen, you two both called me thinking the other is the killer. So it can't be either you, and your uncle's been missing for days. I think it might be him. He was always mean and a little, off his, a little crazy. So I think it's him." And the whole time he's talking, he's like, "Oh, it smells," or whatever. And then as he finishes his last line, he's like, "Yeah, I think it could really be him." He's like, "Pooh, something really stinks in here." Like, it was so fucking stupid. And so now Jesse and Jade are like, "Oh, I love you again," and so they're up front and they're talking. And then the dude lifts up the trunk and finds the uncle's dead body. And so now he's convinced that both of them are the killers, and they've been playing. So he takes the gun and pulls it on them, and he's like, "Pull over right now." He's like, "Both of you fuckers, you're the killers." He gets out of the car. As he's getting out of the car, they're like, "What are you freaking out about?" And they look and see the dead body, and once again, both of them are like, "He did it," and she did it, and they're just blaming each other again. He gets out and sees a cop car driving by and like flags him down. And And as the cop turns to come back, we see that Tiffany and Chucky finally pop up and are like, hey, you know, they're like, we're killing people. And this causes David to get scared and jump back, and a truck comes by and smashes into him and kills him, and David's dead. So, R.I.P. to David, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't they, as they drive away later, don't they show like a really like an eye just sitting on the highway or something?
I think so. Yeah, they like showing eyeballs.
They do. So Tiffany and Chuck make them take off because the cop is chasing them. Fucking Chucky hangs out the back and just shoots a perfect shot at the cop's tire and just takes him out like in one shot. Like a great aim for Chuck there. They're like, hey, you know, we're dolls now, and Tiffany's like, hey, it's me, Sweet Cheeks, or whatever she calls them. And so Jesse's like, how'd you guys wind up like dolls? And Tiffany's like, that's a long story. And Chucky's like, yeah, if it was a movie, it would take 3 to 4 sequels just to do it justice. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Because, yeah. So they're talking. The radio breaks in, talks about, you know, at the scene of one of the crime scenes, thought killer Charles Lee Ray fingerprints were found on a murder weapon. So they're...
How?
I don't know. I guess they're saying that when you take over the doll, like, because he becomes more and more human, I guess he gets his fingerprints and stuff even. Like... I guess that's the only thing I can think of is he also gets fingerprints when he turns into you know. So they're digging up his body to make sure he's dead and it's really his body in there and stuff. So now they're on the time crunch because they got to get there before their body gets taken and shit. And so they're like, man, we need to ride in style. And this is when they steal like an RV to drive in. And where are they? Is it just in the back? Like you see the dead couple who own the RV.
Yeah, the old people shot in the head or whatever.
Yeah, they're just like stuffed in a closet or something like that. I don't remember where they stuck them. But they're driving. Tiffany brings Chucky some cookies. And I just wrote, there's 5 cookies on the plate. And Chucky's like, thanks. And she walks back. And then when it cuts back, Chucky's in the middle of eating a cookie, and there's only one more cookie on the plate. And I was like, God damn. Like, I know it's probably just they didn't keep the same shot. But I just like to imagine in that little Chuck just scarfing down these cookies. So Chucky's eating the cookies. Jesse looks back and sees Tiffany washing the dishes. Or sees the like dirty dishes or whatever, and he remembers that conversation that he had with Tiffany, and so he tells Chucky like, "Hey, she knows how to cook, but she sure isn't much on, you know, housekeeping, is she?" And so Chucky looks back and sees the dirty dishes, and he's like, "Hey, Tiff, how about cleaning up, you know?" And so Tiffany freaks out. She's like, "You could wash the fucking dishes," you know. She's talking about, "Trust me, honey. Plastic is no substitute for big hard wood," or whatever, you know, talking about his dick size. And Chucky's like, "You weren't complaining the other day," you know, and all this shit. And then Jade just stands up and takes Tiffany and throws her in the oven or whatever, and like locks her in. And Chucky's like, "No," but Jesse just kicks Chucky out of the RV as they're driving. But somehow he loses control and they just crash. What were you saying? Were you yawning or were you about to say something?
I was yawning.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of this one.
It just keeps going.
Yeah. So they crash down this hill. Somehow this crash causes a bunch of electrical wiring to pop out through the RV and a bunch of water. So like everything's electrified. Tiffany is banging on the oven, all burnt up and shit. It looks really cool. I liked how it looked, where she's on the oven and she's just screaming. Yeah. Jesse saves Jade, gets her out of the wiring stuff, and makes her leave. Right before the water and the RV blows up. How did it blow up? I don't remember. I was like, how is this happening?
So the dude's trying to sneak out, and he pulls like the line on the gas tank or the propane for the stove.
Okay.
And he like throws the match and jumps out of it, whatever.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yep.
I thought he was like burning up water or some shit. I don't know.
It's like fuel, you know?
Okay. So yeah, it blows up. They're outside. Tiffany made it outside at some point too. She's all burned up.
She goes flying from the explosion.
Yeah. She's crawling on the ground towards a gun, but Jesse just like steps on her hand. And he's about to kill her. But then we see Chucky has Jade, which by that I mean that Jade's having to carry him as he's like has a gun to her head. And he's like, leave her alone. And then maybe my second favorite part of the movie is they go off to like get to the graveyard. And Chucky just grabs Tiffany by her burnt up hair and is running, just flinging her. And Tiffany's just going, ow, 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 like as they're running down the street. And yeah, I liked it. Jade and Chucky get to the cemetery, and Charles' body's already been dug up. But for some reason, they just have him sitting in the hole. They haven't pulled out his body already. They kill a random gravedigger. He makes Jade like open up the or like get his casket open. He's like at the top of the hole holding the gun, and he's like, "Hurry up!" And she goes, "I'm trying, you fucking midget." And I was like, "Whoa, you can't say that." And yeah, so eventually he like opens it up, or she opens it up. She sees the amulet. He's like, "All right, get it." And so she pulls it off, and his like skeleton head falls over, and he's like, "Bitch, you broke my neck," you know. She gives him the amulet. Jesse shows up with Tiffany. They trade off girls to not kill each other. Jesse and Jade, they get together and they're like hugging and kissing. And first off, Tiffany is like, that's what it's like to get with a real good guy, you know. And then she goes walking over to Chucky, and she's like, and Chucky just like moves to the side. Yeah. And she falls over all burnt up and shit. Then of course Chucky throws a knife at them because he's evil, you know. Jesse moves her and takes the hit for her not to, you know, have to deal with it, right? And so he's stabbed in the back. And then he tells her to pull it out, which aren't you not supposed to pull it out? Like, it's like once you pull it out, the blood starts coming. Because right now it's stuffed in, you know?
I don't think he cares.
Maybe not. So, yeah, that happens. And then he's like up and about like it's nothing after he did that. Now, Tyler, it's been a couple weeks. But do you remember, Tyler, when we watched Child's Play 3 and Chucky threw a dart into a full-grown man, and that man was done, paralyzed, couldn't move anymore. This guy just got a knife in the back, and I guess maybe they're saying it missed his spine. Maybe it just like hit flesh, and maybe the dart hit spine. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, come on here.
It's I don't know. Like I said, when I watch these movies, I'm very analytical about it.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have that, like, maybe I'm autistic or something, but I don't have that, like, sense of disbelief.
Yeah.
Right? I can't be like, oh, this is just good fun.
Yeah.
Like, I have to analyze everything. And at this point in the movie, it was so bad that I just stopped analyzing everything.
Yeah.
That makes sense? I was like, oh, well, there it goes.
So then, Chucky starts to do the spell, right? To, I guess, who is he trying to take over? Is he taking over Jesse's body?
Yes.
Okay.
He's putting himself in Jesse, and he wants to put homegirl Tiff and the lady
All
Jade.
right. Yeah.
So.
But Tiffany comes over, and she's like, we belong together forever. And she's like, can you give me a kiss? And for Chucky ends up, he does, actually, which is weird since he wouldn't hug her a second ago. But he kisses her, and then she stabs him in the back with a knife, and he's like, and he falls down. She's like, look at us. We deserve to die or whatever. And so he like falls over and he dies. Tiffany is watching Jesse and Jade, like hugging and stuff. And she's like, oh, and then Chucky gets back up and just hits her in the back of the head with a shovel. And like she hits the ground hard. They have a full doll fight, full of like, there's even a part where like Chucky flips over her as she runs at him and stuff. I'm sure some people really like it and they're like, oh, it's just good doll fun or whatever. But seeing as how I was already done with this movie, watching Chucky like do a kung fu flip over Tiffany, I was like, I hate this, like, I was
it's the only time in the movie, I think, I don't want to say like for sure, but I want to say it's the only time in the movie where they actually have like short people playing them.
Yeah, it was definitely people in costume.
Yeah, and that's always good because now I know there's a little Chucky and a little Tiffany out there somewhere.
Yeah, I think maybe one was playing him when, like I said, when he was crawling towards the car too, because it looked like a person. No, you're like, this is the.
I know. I said, I don't. I didn't see that part. Well, I saw it, but I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So, anyway, they're fighting. Eventually, he knocks Tiffany down, but she gets back up, and she starts to choke him. But Chucky finally, like, stabs her in the stomach. And she's saying some bullshit about Mama always told me love would kill me or something like that. And she's, like, being all wise and stuff. And then Chucky's just like, get off my knife! And he just pushes her off. And I always like ruthless Chucky. Like, that's my favorite version of Chucky. And so he pushes her off. And then Chucky is standing there. Jesse runs into frame out of nowhere with the shovel. And baseball bat hits Chucky into the grave. And it was great. A cop shows up and he's about to arrest Jesse and Jade. But he looks and he sees Chucky in the hole. And he's like, oh, shit, 'cause Chucky's down there yelling. Jade then takes the gun from the cop, right? And, he's like, go ahead and shoot me. I always come back, But he's like, but dying is a bitch. And then she shoots him, like, 3 times and kills him. That's it. Like, he's dead. First off, thought it was weird that she would take the shot and not the cop, who you would assume has some training. But either way. Also, once again, Tyler, I don't know if you remember Child's Play 3, when there was a cadet there who they showed she was an immaculate shot the whole time.
Yep.
Was a bap, 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 right? She gets within 5 feet of Chucky, and she cannot hit him to save her life. And this woman who has no training, I guess maybe they're saying her uncle was a cop. Maybe her dad was a cop too. So maybe she has. But either way, and she just nails 3 perfect shots. And once again, it's a fucking movie. But I'm trying to keep some continuity between what we've seen already. But whatever. So Chucky's dead. The cop is like, hey, you guys get out of here, So he radios his cop buddies, and he's like, oh, I got a body here. Jade and Jesse were here, but it wasn't, or no, Jade and Jesse are it's not them. They're free to go or whatever. But I was wondering, like, how is he gonna explain? Who's he gonna blame it on? Is he gonna be like, it was the doll? Like, why did they kill him? They could arrest him and show everybody, hey, it's a doll. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I kind of want a Chucky in prison movie. Like, they arrest him, and he's just in prison. Like, just going everywhere. Either way, Jesse and Jade are gone. The cop's looking around, and he finds Tiffany's body. And he's, like, poking her, and she's not getting up. But then she lets out a scream, and he's like, oh, God, you know? And something's, like, moving around in her stomach, and he's like, what the fuck? And then just blood from the vagina shoots up into his face. And he's like, oh, God. I thought it was burning him for a minute. Like, there was steam coming off of it. It was just hot blood.
Probably should have been, you know?
It would have been cool if it was acid blood. But then, out of the vagina comes crawling this mutant doll baby thing. And we get a really bad CGI jump at the dude. And he presumably kills him. And that's the end of Bride of Chucky, with the birth of the fucking baby, who that'll be the story of Seed of Chucky when we get to that. So
he had like sharp teeth and stuff. Like,
yeah. He did. So anyway, this movie had a budget of $25 million, made a box office of $50 million. So good for that movie, I guess. Also, Tyler, I forgot to mention the people who get killed in the hotel and in the waterbed. The next day, when the maid comes to and sees them dead or whatever, that maid was played by the woman who voices Peggy Hill on King of the Hill, and I was like, oh shit. So
she's also the fat chick from Hocus Pocus. I want to say,
is she?
I don't want to say fat chick, but like the bigger witch.
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe. Yeah. And then the last little fact I had, just because I didn't know this, maybe you did. But the soundtrack for this movie features, a couple Rob Zombie tracks, and it also features a Power Man 5000 track. The lead singer, Power Man 5000, Spider 1, yeah, his real name is Michael David Cummings.
He's Rob Zombie's half brother.
Yeah, the younger brother of Rob Zombie. I didn't know that, and I was like, oh shit. So,
does it surprise you that I know that?
A little bit.
Did I ruin your thunder by saying it too early?
Kinda.
Oh. You want to do another take?
Nah, it's over. Oh. It's over. I want to get this
I'll pretend surprised.
Done with. Hey, Tyler.
Really?
Did you know? Yeah, anyway. All right. Let's do best of, worst of for Bride of Chucky. My best of is going to be Chucky rocking out to Rob Zombie. Just his little fist pump and stuff. I don't know. I liked it. It was fun. Worst of the couple. It was terrible. It's the worst part of this movie. Absolutely. It was, yeah. Like, you complained about Andy for 3 movies, and I don't like. Give me Andy, please. Like, it was terrible. I hated it. So that's my worst stuff. Yeah. Tyler, what's your best of, worst of?
My best of is probably when randomly through the center of the movie they just start getting high.
Yeah, they did do that.
They just start smoking weed for no reason, and I'm like, what? He's not like a druggie. He's a serial killer, but okay. You know, Chucky likes to party. That's cool.
Yep.
I don't know. I kind of hated the whole movie. Like I said, I gave it a 1. But like all the Tiffany stuff it's what they try to do. They try to do this whole tie-in to where she was watching Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah. And like if you watch that movie, it's kind of a sad romantic tale, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they tried to end this movie like that, but didn't accomplish it. So I don't know, but Rob Zombie music playing in this probably before he made any of his movies. So I'm guessing he was just a musician at this point.
I think so.
So if anything, the best part of this movie is it kind of foretold Rob Zombie's foray into movie making. Even though I think he's always been a big fan of the classics.
Yeah. I like we say this, like we talk about it and we make a joke like we're Rob Zombie's biggest fans and whatever. I haven't liked most of his movies. Like I was talking about The Munsters and I was like, oh yeah, it might be his worst movie he's ever made. But then I remembered Halloween 2. And I was like, you know what? Halloween 2 was pretty... I mean, you didn't even finish it. Like, it was
The problem with
terrible.
Halloween 2 is they called it Halloween 2. If they would have just called it a different movie, it would have made a lot more sense. If they said this is just an homage.
Well, the problem with Halloween 2 was they made the lead character the most unlikable person ever. Because she survived the first movie, and then for some reason in 2, she just had mood swings. She kept blaming, like just freaking out on everybody. Like, her dad would be like, hey, how's it going? And he would be like, fuck you, you know. Oh, speaking of Halloween, I just made the connection. Chucky, voiced by Brad Dourif plays the sheriff in those 2 Halloween movies. Yeah, he's the dad to the one girl who was the little girl in Halloween 4 and 5, who she's back in those ones. And then she gets...
naked.
Yeah, she gets murdered in the second one naked, and there's that real, like, sad scene where it's all quiet and you don't hear anything, and you just see Brad Dourif find his dead daughter, and he's like, ah, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Pretty brutal.
Pretty brutal, yeah. Well, anyway. Alright. Well, hey, that was Bride of Chucky. Jesus Christ.
Did they get better?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't... We'll find out with Seed. I think Seed's pretty bad. Seed is always called the worst one of the series. So,
have I seen this film? Like, are these people who haven't watched this film?
But Cult and Curse are pretty good. I like those. And then there's obviously, you know, the remake that we have to watch. Which, once again, like I say, good movie. They just shouldn't have called it Child's Play. Could have just been a different movie.
That has what's her name in it, right? Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza, yeah. Aubrey Plaza and some guy who looks exactly like Jack Black, but is not Jack Black. So, playing like a creepy janitor dude.
I get mad when they put people in movies just for fan service.
Oh, yeah?
And I think Audrey Plaza, whatever.
Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey Plaza. Yeah. I think she's kind of that type person.
I don't...
Where they just put her in movies. It's not because she's good. It's just because everyone loves her for playing one character in a semi-shitty TV show. Anyways.
Whoa. I think that...
Parks and Rec.
Oh, never mind. What's the fucking, like, Community or something that's getting, like, another season?
It's getting
and, like, a movie and shit.
But Donald Glover's in that, so it's alright.
Is he going to be back for that?
They said the whole cast is coming.
Oh,
so.
Even Chevy Chase?
That's the part.
I think they were saying they didn't really want to have Chevy Chase back. But, anyway. Alright. Well, hey, thanks for fucking listening to Bride of Chucky. We got a week off, which honestly I'm glad for. I don't want to watch another Chucky movie next week. Like I said, we were going to watch Cujo, but I think we got to watch Barbarian, right? Like, it's going to get spoiled for us. I still have no idea what it's about.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. It might suck, but at least we'll find out together.
Apparently it's crazy. That's all I hear. So yeah, I think we're going to watch Barbarian next week. And then the week after that, see Chucky back again.
I'm an enlightened horror guy, so I can do crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you
enlightened?
slasher guys.
Do you mean elevated? You got the fucking name wrong.
I wanted to go one podcast without saying elevated horror.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I think I've got a couple.
You got a couple. You're like, I'm bringing it back. So I've been working on a video. Anytime I go through an old podcast looking for some shorts, anything that's funny or whatever, if I hear the Greenhouse reference, I have a note tacking down every Greenhouse reference. And eventually, if I find them all, I'll make a compilation of all the times we mentioned Greenhouse on the podcast. That's a very old inside joke that we kept running for a longer than we probably should have. But I wonder where we stopped. I don't remember where we stopped with it.
You said Greenhouse. I automatically, my mind went to the Green Room.
Oh, no.
I was like, it's a really good movie. I don't know why you're making notes of it, though.
Yeah.
Just watch the movie. But...
No. So, anyway. All right. Next week, Barbarian. Link to gaming channel and everything down in the description. Bunch of videos coming out over there. When does this come out? This comes out Friday. So tomorrow over on the gaming channel, there's a fucking weird tier list video type thing. Me and Maury did. Look forward to that.
I can't believe you didn't wait for my tier list. I don't even know what it was.
It's just a whole bunch of random shit. There's a tier list, and I take a depression quiz in the middle of it.
Are you depressed?
I had 11 out of 22. The questions were so dumb. It was like, have you ever felt, how many days have you felt worthless? Or something like that. And then it was like half the days, like, and it was like my whole life? Or do you mean like through a week? Like, what are you talking about? So, I don't know. But anyway, so.
How often do you feel worthless?
I don't know. I guess every now and then. Everyone does, right? Not
No,
like,
man.
yeah, you're like, I'm fucking great.
No, all the time.
The opposite.
I'm literally just like fucking writing this out. Like, I don't know. Like, any day. Like, I'm just like, fuck it. It's good. Had a good one.
Yeah.
Like,
Well.
I know it sounds bad, but and I mean, like, I don't need help. I don't need anything like that.
Mhm.
But I'm just done.
Yeah.
And I'm too fucking smart to deal with someone talking to me.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so I was
Alright.
saying, like, hey guys,
Yeah.
hope you die. No,
Yeah.
I mean, happy Halloween.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
What are we
Halloween's
doing
coming.
for a Halloween special?
I think we might just watch the new Halloween movie, because I think it comes out like October 24th or something like that. So
That's pretty lame, Tom. That's pretty
I
lame.
mean, it's Halloween on Halloween. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Hey, will you buy me a bootleg GoPro with a head mount? Well, we have two, don't we? You have two.
Yeah, we got to.
Do we have head mounts for them?
No. I remember we went
we
to
buy-
go buy chest mounts, and they were very expensive. And we went, ooh.
Yeah, but a headband and a fucking piece of string.
Yeah.
We could make our own head mount, but I wonder if we could go to like a...
Is there a cat in your room playing with like a jingle ball?
Do you hear that?
Yeah, what is that?
It's a fidget spinner that I just have on my desk.
Oh.
I can't believe you hear it though.
It's
That's
only when you
crazy.
talk. I just hear it in the background.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is that?
But yeah, let's stop it. But I don't know. I keep seeing the shit for like haunted hay rides and stuff.
I don't know, we could do
But
a
I-
sweet pumpkin carving
think-
video. I've been in the mood to carve a pumpkin. I don't know.
We could. Oh hey, I mean, you'd have to buy Mav a pumpkin,
Yeah, because he ain't buying it. I'm broke.
but we could have a pumpkin carving contest, and we'll debut them,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll see who wins.
Yeah. Maybe. Anyway. All right.
I like that one where it's always the butthole. You know?
Yeah,
It's like yeah, that's the best pumpkin. Not exactly scary, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next week, Barbarian. See you guys then. Bye.
Woo!